All right. So welcome everyone to our beautiful, gorgeous, one day after the new moon global heart resonance call. And this call is always to deepen into the resonant field, this sensation of this call to wholeness, this recognition of our wholeness as stewards for good of the whole. And yes, for capital GOOD, etc., but really for how we're living for the good of the whole. To widen our understanding, to widen our connection, and deepen our commitment in ways that really mysteriously and magically is always coming as new information, and that we're not tied to this construct of conditioning or belief structures, but that we're opening to the newness, the emergence of life as it's happening at the evolutionary edge. So welcome. And this morning we have wonderfully have Henry, who offered us this beautiful reflection. And one of our resonant stewards, Cassandra, is going to open with the resonance here this morning. So welcome. Welcome, Dawn and Susan and Sharon. Good to see you. We're opening this call, and after Cassandra, I'll just drop in just a few notations, and then we'll move into our call. Thank you.
Shelley, I don't have a resonant thing for you to. I'm sorry, I must have missed something in our earlier chat. So
okay, all right, no problem. We'll talk about it. She'll be joining us. to be, what? How do you say that? To be coming soon. That's fine. Oh, always another tickle. All right. So the invitation is for everyone to simply relaxing your body. If you feel like you just like to take a moment, closing your eyes and opening to this inherent experience of wholeness, to this voice. And as I was saying, this sensation within the mystery, within the magic of love itself, in opening to what is actually precisely needed for all of us in this moment as individuals and as a collective. We don't have to understand it, and we don't have to figure it out. We just simply let go and feel this communion, this electricity that runs through our being as light information, as it connects with the waters of our being. And just taking a few conscious breaths and allowing yourself to drop deeper into the truth of who you be, the wholeness that you are, and that relationship with this larger community. And our tendency is to think of our evolutionary connections, our evolutionary partners, our evolutionary community. And the invitation again is just to become aware of your relationship with the sacredness of all beings. And this morning, how that sensation of undulating movement is literally an experience of excitement, of aliveness within our consciousness, within our bodies. We feel it when we put our toes in the water. We feel it when we go barefoot on the earth. And here this morning, we can feel it as a frequency, as a home frequency that's carrying us into a greater perception, perhaps, of love itself. I'm just taking a moment just to feel that anchoring. To open our hearts and very gently coming back to this beautiful tapestry of love and light and wisdom, really true wisdom. And I pass this crystalline talking stick to put it in Henry to open our call.
Thank you, Shelley. Good morning, everyone. At this time of the new moon, we open to accessing our inherent wholeness. Beginning with a quote from Laurie Beth Jones. What most excites you in or about the world at this time? A teacher and dear friend of many of us at Good of the Whole, Barbara Marx Hubbard, who passed into spirit last spring, was very much into inquiries. She embraced them from the deepest level of her being and often invited whomever she was with into the vibrant sanctuary of this passion. One of her favorite go-to inquiries was, what is alive in you? What is alive in you? What is alive in us is a key to access our inherent wholeness and the greater purpose of our lives. Inquiries help us to connect with those deeper levels of our being and with the fire within, and also with our wholeness and holiness. Other inquiries that Barbara would ask included, what is emerging for you? What is your deepest heart desire? And the inquiry that she especially carried for herself and with other co-creators was for awakening the new human and the new species within humanity. So on the same trajectory as those mentioned is a powerful inquiry from another source that I expressed at the beginning. What most excites you in or about the world? So I invite you to take a moment and ask yourself that. Maybe close your eyes if you like, and if you take a few breaths. What is it that most excites me at this time in or about the world? Just take a couple breaths with that. And open to the response that you receive without judgment. opening as well to feelings, to sensations. The Laurie Beth Jones, where that question comes from, she also expressed that if your mission holds no personal passion, then it is not your path. If your mission holds no personal passion, it is not your path. So we now welcome into this circle of resonance what is emerging for you from this reflection and from these inquiries. And I place the crystal, the crystalline structure at this time of the new moon into the center of our circle.
This is Susan, and I would love to address that. I am one of those parents that did not want to know the sex of my child when I was pregnant, and that is how I look at life. Birthing all the time. Oh my gosh, what's birthing now? And what new do I see? It's going to be a boy or a girl. It's going to be a child, but you don't know how that child is going to fully express themselves. And you, as a parent, get to watch this. So I see myself as a parent of the world, a mother, witnessing and being the living, breathing womb of life, and seeing everything anew and not taking things for granted. That's what came to me. And one other thing is that I worked with Barbara's Wheel of Co-Creation, and I would take it to groups of people. And it's amazing when, and these were groups of people that had no idea what what I was going to be asking of them. And I would get them in a circle, and I would ask someone to go in the center, and what do they desire? And some people were shy and didn't want to get into the center, but they did. And they were amazed. Once they were standing in the center, they really became centered. And I believe that fear just went away, because there's a circle of people really listening. And isn't that what we all really desire as well, is that we're being listened to? And so then what was amazing is how that would work is then there were people in the circle who would say, hey, I can help you with that. Or I have an idea. And it really was the wheel in action, and beautiful to witness and experience. And one case, there were 3 men, older men, who had stopped seeing each other. They're ministers from different denominations. And they had their differences, and they came together that day and decided they were going to reunite. So you never know what's going to happen when you bring the wheel in. So I return the crystalline. It feels like a crystalline, like beyond just being a stick, or I don't know. I feel like it's just like all of an energy of expanse. There's like that. I'm entering the crystalline this.
Good morning, everyone. This is Nahid. From Boulder with no electricity, 22 degrees. I would like to picture the Susan you brought into the space. 40 years ago, when I was conceiving my child, who happened to be a girl, my only child, at the time that I was making love, I don't know where this idea came from, but I remember that very loudly I was hearing this voice. I am birthing love. I am birthing love. I am birthing love. I had no clue about anything. It was a conscious love making to bring a child into the world. What you just shared, it felt like in here, because I was hurt as a little girl, sexually abused. I didn't want to bring a gender, a male or female, into the world. I don't know, even still I don't know where that voice came from. I wanted to birth love, to be in a place that I would not be viewed as a woman only. I come from a culture that women are, Middle East, and I see it in here. It is not actually only there. Not as an object of sexual pleasure, but as a loving being. So what is emerging in me is this healing, the balance between the feminine and masculine within oneself, using consciously in awareness the creative sexual energy for the sake of the creation, for whatever purpose two or more will come together. Well, it seems I've been underground for many years, and the new seedlings are coming out, and I connect that to the new moon, that the new seeds for whatever we have nurtured and focused and loved and being with is blossoming, is coming to the surface. I am complete and whole.
Whoop. I don't know what happened. I'm not sure how to take my picture. I was did something. Oh dear. Is it okay. Hi. Yeah, I have a huge passion. And it started, gosh, it's been going 50, 60 years, as a wounded healer and terrified of people having an extreme skin disease as a child, and ridicule. So I threw myself into leading thousands of groups as a way of healing. And it was always, having had a couple of experiences of seeing this sense or feeling the sense of connectedness with the whole that shook me to my core. And so there was always something I was doing to begin to bridge that gap. And I did so well in groups, but not always so well in my private life. I could easily go back to a state of separateness, of protections, masks. And this was always disturbing, this duality, where I could do so well, where there was permission and everybody was aboard. But somehow on my own devices, more difficult. And my passion now is that the body-mind connection is, Nahid was saying, the feminine, I want to say body, the mind, the masculine, the head-centric world that has been the controlling force over most of our training and education. This body, the languages of the body have taken, from my perspective, from teaching groups all over the world, a back seat. And no matter how much exercise and stuff we do, there is something, the holding patterns of separation. And where I felt it the most was the other night. I worked with the most beautiful group of millennial women. I mean, they were gorgeous. 4 of them were attorneys, and they were like 28 years old. And while, we started, and a few pieces that I've done, with thousands of people. Of course, most of those groups, people were electing to come. They knew what they were getting into, no problem. This group was invited by somebody and they didn't know. And that was a piece here, I must say. But when I asked them to begin moving their bodies closer towards someone and away, beginning to radiate their hearts a little more into their experience. The holding patterns, it was like a lifetime came flooding out. And the embarrassments, the little laughter and the eyes glancing all over the room. And it was quite a task for, just to make that eye contact, just to let that little heart, I've been in here, just to start to peek out a little bit. Is it safe? Is it safe? How do I make it safe? What is safety? And by the end of the evening, it was like, if I could come out and begin to mirror a little bit the energetics of this person I'm talking to, there's like a real interactive flow happening. And then going back to the original place, oh, that stopped. And by the end, you know, there was that camaraderie and more of a flow again with the whole group. And as Nahid said, she's been underground too. I've been underground in my own backyard and playing it safe, going to foreign countries, no problem again. And so I'm in actually this group after going to have my 83rd birthday in 2 weeks. And it's time for me to come out and to play with the world. And with a deep compassion for myself as the world, of how easy it is to hide, how easy it is to mask, and the willingness to authentically share that in the face of knowing there's only one of us in it all.
This is Dinama in Oregon, and I will hold that crystalline orb and express the ecstasy of our collective co-creation, conscious co-creation. That is my excitement source, knowing I am creating right now what we might experience as the future simply by our attention and deliberate embodiment of that source light. It's challenging, exciting, and it is our place of wholeness moving in unity. And there's great ecstasy in that. Mm-hmm. I'm complete. Return the orb to the circle.
Good morning, this is Julie in Nebraska. I have a crystal ball over there. I'm going to go get it in a minute. I want to follow that because of something that just moved inside of me listening to these beautiful women on this call is that what excites me about the world is the healing. As we're coming into wholeness, what excites me about the world is that connection, bonding, belonging, heal. Experiencing our wholeness is not an individual role. It really is coming into community and tribe and group and collective and healing. And you are my mentors and you are my mothers. Even Dawn and Henry, I'm just going to say this in this way because I had this realization this weekend. I went on a road trip with my sister-in-law and brother-in-law and went to my niece's volleyball game, college volleyball games. Went to 2 of them, Friday and Saturday, and went to Iowa and went to South Dakota and then came back to Nebraska. And in conversation, one thing occurred to me as we were processing family dysfunction, family patterns in my husband's family. And all of a sudden it occurred to me that I had 3 mothers where I was unwanted and unloved. 3 mothers, my mother, my stepmother, and my mother-in-law. And at first I just sat with that experience by myself in the early morning hours. And then what shifted quickly was how broken all 3 of them are, still are. They're very broken. And as I look at you beautiful women here on the call and how I am so blessed to have this space to experience what we're talking about with this feminine healing, the divine feminine and the feminine healing of our Earth Mama and our relationship to her, and how the world is waking up to that. So yesterday I listened to an interview with Lisa Rankin, who's an MD, who left traditional medicine to do alternative. And half of the conversation was about our global heart resonance call. Half of the conversation was her saying how medicine is waking up and how the research is catching up. And what we know is we heal in community. We heal in, she called it resonant. I'll have to go back to it. Resonant groups or resonant community. I'll have to go back and see how she labeled it. And here we are. And what they know is if one person is healing in this resonant field that we hold, we're all healing. So I bring that in as this divine feminine conversation. What excites me is we are all waking to this. And I believe as we heal, even as we heal 7 generations back and 7 generations forward. The old indigenous wisdom there. And that those 3 mothers that couldn't love me and didn't want me, they'll be healed as well by sitting on this call with you beautiful souls here. So I just really wanted to share that because that's what excites me on the planet right now. Science and spirituality are catching up, and here we be sitting in this beautiful circle. With that, I'm complete, and I'll bring my crystal ball over in a little bit.
Morning, this is June from California, and I bring my crystal and heart. My passion lately, my heart has been involved in healing the earth because so much is going on here in California with fires, and close by we've had PG&E on and off quite a bit, but most of all, just holding our own earth where we live, our own our roots that we love and that we want to maintain. And yesterday, my husband and I got up and we, first thing checked the fires because they're close by several of our family members. And then the wind started to come up and it was going very, very strong. And so we had to take down anything that, and tie down anything that would blow away. Then we went out and spent the day, probably 8 hours, working on our garden and our yard, cutting down back trees, just doing everything that is necessary in making one's home beautiful and healthy. And as we did that all day long, we talked about Mother Earth, and we talked about what it feels like to love her and to take her. And the care that we really wanted, which was to be able to stop the pain of the fires and the winds. But at the end of that 8 hours, we were both so tired we could hardly move. We did far more than 2 old people should do in a day. And we sat down for a few minutes in the evening and we were just talking and again watching about the fires. And my husband reached over and put his hand on mine and he said, "Honey, I so love you." And that's the richness of 2 people, their families, their care. They're wanting to do whatever is possible to keep this earth healthy and and a beautiful place and a safe place to live. But right now, there is no safe place. There's just this place that we love and care for and hold in our hearts as healthy and whole, and allowing that to do the healing that we can do at this moment in time. So all of what you've been talking about today has deeply touched my heart. Pass on my crystalline heart.
This is Cassandra. I'm in Central Texas. Ecstasy. I'd like to pick up that thread because that's what I feel. That's how I experience your personal resonant connection. And as it cycles and circles and begins to affect us all and bringing us into this mutually co-creative space, then we are able to have that revelation, whatever it might be in our own lives. Isn't that the essence of the journey of walking on the planet? I'm so deeply aware of energy these days. It's almost as if we could say that the veil is thinning a little bit, and the sensing that I receive from the love that I hold for this group, but for all of humanity, excites me. There are many things that I've done in my life, and I'm glad that I did them all. They helped me to become more rounded. I can exist in the world more comfortably now instead of being a child of a mystic and unable to function in the thinking world. So just feeling our hearts for a moment. If you would kindly place your hands on your hearts, and let's just be for just a moment, just a breath or two. Deepening. Expanding our fields. I tend to daven. It's a natural state. Your body picks up the rhythm of the energy. So thank you. Thank you for sharing this precious moment with each other. It's a pretty wonderful group. And like many of you, I get it. We are changing the world simply by coming together. Oh.
This is Sharon in New Jersey. I'll go. And I have a little crystal heart with an angel in it. And she has her arms spread open. So I thought that was on my desk. Just so appreciate the mother that Susan brought forth early, and we've just continued the energy of nurturance and caring. And what excites me, having just returned last night from China, we had 8 days in China. So what's exciting me is connection. So the connection with a very different experience of people and place. And of course, we were there primarily to chase birds, because that's what we love to do. So, and I just, the first or second day I was there, my husband was in the conference and I was out in the nature there birding. And I was just, it was such ecstasy. I realized at one point, just to be, that's my passion, just to be in nature, connecting with the little creatures there, the birds and the nature. And it was just so blissful to be doing that. And to not have, because I was away on this trip, there was no other pressures or agendas or anything on my mind other than that. It was a very pure experience, and it was delicious. And we saw 69 new birds and about 90 species of birds over the week. So it was very successful from that point of view. And we had a bird guide who was, native Chinese, and he was very introverted. It was all about our connection. We had the same passion for the birds and the connection, and it was all about that. And then over the 2 days that we were with him, by the end of that time, he was opening up a little more, and we had more of a personal connection, find out a little about his family and his life. Not a lot, but a little. And just the connection there. And we made great connections in the conference as well. There may be a trip to Australia coming now. So, because the Australian guy spilled beer in my lap, so I figure he owes me. It's like you connect over beer. But it is connection, it's healing, it's being. And thank you all for the gift and the treasure of this experience, this group right now. I'll pass my little crystal angel back.
Good morning from Southern California. It's Nancy. I hope you can hear me. I'm using my phone. I'm not used to that. It's been very windy and fiery in Southern California. It's very disturbing sleeps at night. And then being with all of you is like being cradled like a child, being just davening, somebody said, back and forth, cradled with love. And it's so at home to be here with you. And I think that's what excites me the most in my life, is this connection. I kind of had it intuitively as a child. And as an adult, it's expanding. It just feels like someone's wrapped their arms around me when I get together with you and said, everything is just perfect. Everything is okay. And I live for this connection. And I want to and do create environments to help others feel this connection. And that's my life purpose. So this morning I have my crystal ball, and I went to a Halloween party the other day and had to come up with an outfit, and I saw this, and so I became a fortune teller at the Halloween party, and it was fun. And I took this little crystal ball and my box of the Osho tarot cards, and it was really interesting because I set up a little I pretended to be a fortune teller. I'm not really. I mean, people would come by and I say, hey, would you want to pick a card, you know? And they'd say, are you a real fortune teller? And I'd say, no. It was like I was really lying, because I really am, but I didn't. I'm really not, but I really am, you know what I mean? And I didn't want to feel like a fraud, but also it was not fully living who I am. It wasn't fully expressing who I am out into my neighbor's world. We're all very close, but we're not the spiritual group, but we're definitely a heartfelt, important group, just a little different than this one. And so it was really neat. So people would just pick a card, and then I would just read from the book what they picked. But for some, I created another conversation. But I remember leaving thinking, well, I kind of am a fortune teller. I am very intuitive. And I was just observing how maybe I was intimidated or afraid to be fully the spiritual being that I am around other people that aren't all connected like us. But it was really fun. And so I passed my crystal ball along, and I'm grateful for this time with you.
This is Shelley. I want to follow these threads that are interweaving throughout this call, and just expanding this awareness. So we're talking about this connection and this healing. And so I was watching, there was a video, but the Dalai Lama met with youth leaders from all over the world just a few days ago. And it was incredible to watch the way, and he so beautifully and so simply kept coming across in this, you know, as he does in this most loving, humorous way. But everyone was asking him about, you know, connection and what can they do, and their experience. They just kept wanting to tell their experiences of the challenges they were having within their communities as youth leaders. And even when the woman said to the Dalai Lama in the very beginning, well, I'm going to go around the room, we're going to introduce you to each one of them and who they are and where they're from. And he stopped her point blank. And he said, no, no, don't you understand? This is the bait, like this is my words, but it was the most incredible. He said, no, in sense, he was saying, let go of these identities. He said, until we experience our innocence, until we, like he said, we need to be like children. Children don't ask each other who they are and where they're from. They just play, they just connect, they just rejoice. Ecstasy has been one of the words that's been flowing here for a couple of weeks. And they live that experience of the wholeness, of the goodness. And he just completely cut her off. And then each person, each beautiful young leader from all these different countries, he would cut them off because they wanted to know, oh, what's the specifics of what I can do? And he said, no. It's like the only thing is to realize that even though there are 700 million people or whatever it is, there's only one being, one wholeness. And until you come into contact with that, there will never be peace. And I feel like as I'm listening to everyone and understand the workings behind this experience here, and for the past 7 years, it's exactly that. It's like he was inviting them to let go of the stories and feel the experience of wholeness, of this one, he said this oneness that we be. And in that, as everyone's been sharing, there is that healing. Peace can happen from that place. And I feel that so that's my excitement, is that recognition in listening to each one of you and creating this container where we can experience this preciousness of life, this preciousness of what we're calling the home frequency, or what we're calling this call to wholeness, is inevitably that sense of being the fullness. That it's not, we don't have to think about it. It's like we just be the fullness. We be like that child. I've had the great gift to be spending a lot of time with my granddaughter, and watching when those conditions are placed on her and how sad she gets. And when she is just loved up and held and cherished for who she be, she's so happy. She's like the sun, she's like the moon. And that's just like all of us. We are the sun, we are the moon. We are that initiatory excitement that is the creative element in all creation. So I'm just really happy to be here and, just deepen and widen in this experience. So thank you. I'm whole, home, and here. Kate, you're not on, you're on mute.
Yeah, intentionally I'm on mute. I was on speaker view, and so I was going to see who hasn't spoken. So I guess I will grab my crystal heart here. And, when I read the resonant reflection, I thought, well, what excites me? But, in a good way or in a bad way. Because a lot of things make me angry, and that's excitement too. And so I've heard so many extensions, Dawn, of the conversations I had with you, especially, and I break the rules by saying, that Wowza really took me to a band, what we spoke of yesterday, the avoidance, and and then, I just conversation. And so what excites me, and then what I do about that righteous indignation and the avoidance theme that has just kind of been so prevalent with me today. And it was kind of interesting. I have Box Elderbug written down because as Shelley was speaking about the recognizing the sentience of all life, and I squished out a box elderbug. When they come into the house, the flies and the box elderbugs are gone. I will rescue spiders, but it depends upon the time of the year there too. Anyway, so I really, there's so many things always to examine as the moments, the unscripted moments allow things to open up that you get to examine and look at this completeness and and of course I could speak more, but I really feel like that there may be others that haven't spoken, so I'm gonna put my little crystal heart back in the center now.
Good morning, everyone. This is Karen, located in Costa Rica. Sorry about the identity, Shelley. What excites me about the world now? The beauty of this world. It's just such a beautiful, beautiful place. Going out in nature, I went for a walk yesterday. It's just the beauty of this world, and just the beauty of all the faces and the people on the groups like this, knowing that through all the chaos and dissension and disharmony going on in the world right now, through the shift and changes, how many people are waking up, how many people, how many projects, how many places I've seen working toward the change and the good of the whole, the good of all. Waking up to knowing there really is only one. There's so much hope and there's so much beauty. So I'm excited about the world. We're here for a reason at this time, and we're here to be part of it. And it's exciting and challenging. You know, that Chinese proverb, what is it? How does it go again? We live in interesting, may you live in interesting times, or something along those lines. So, and that can, so we are here living in those times. We are here to help birth a whole new world. What's there not to be excited about? And see the beauty in it all, even the stuff that doesn't always look beautiful. In some ways, as we've been conditioned to believe, there's what beauty is. Beauty is all of it. It's all beautiful and all good. So I thank you all. This is the best way to start the week. So thank you. And I'm meeting a new friend, like-minded friend that's moved to the area, who isn't younger than my son. And we're having lunch today, so I'm excited to that could make 3 of us now. I'm like, wow, 50 and over that are aware, doing healing work and other things to get together. So yay. So thank you all, and I can't wait to see where everything leads in this beautiful, beautiful world. So thank you.
I'd be happy to speak. Shelley, do we end the meeting at this time? Or? Okay, go ahead. Yeah, well, it's so nice to see faces that we haven't seen for a long time. So many people that started years ago that we went 3 times to the West Coast. I live on the East Coast. Went 3 times to spend the weekends with Barbara. And and it's interesting how wonderful. And one of the things I appreciate you, Shelley, that you've held this group together really for all this time. And there are other groups like that that have spun off of all the things that Barbara has done. So I've taken every course that she's offered actually, and so I've been very much following her ideas, evolutionary ideas. We are evolutionary people. One of the things that excites me is my ability and our ability to be creative. That we've been given this wonderful new brain, I call it the genie organ. I call it the genie organ because if you remember Aladdin's lamp, if you rub the lamp, it comes out of the lamp, and the genie grants you 3 wishes. And the way I look at it, if you can get our wonderful new cerebral cortex out of our brain, out of what's between our ears, it grants us unlimited wishes. If we do that, I think, to me, it's where what excites me is where science and religion and spirituality to come together. We're talking about oneness. I don't know if you know Steve Farrell and his program, but for 6 days, he's had some of the world's leading thinkers on panels for 6 days on the topic of global oneness, and virtually everyone was saying how important it is for global oneness, that the same theme of together. And so my excitement is to create a new program that creates world peace, and that's what I've been doing with my group. So I've been meeting with my group every Sunday, actually, for usually a little over an hour. And Katie is a part of this. We're happy to have her join us and share her wisdom. So we're collecting our wisdom, and we're learning that way, and we've come up with some new ideas. So we think that we have the answer how we can rapidly create world peace. And just to share it, I think one of the main ways is groups like this. Now, the way that what's unique today in the world is that we have this technology to come together as groups like this. And if we can group groups of groups, you see, there's no way to more rapidly spread information like the domino effect than if we we sort of, you talk about birthing, if we can birth groups like this. So I'm happy to say our group had a contact with the director of education a while back, not long ago, with Zoom technology, the people that produced this program. And we told him what we were doing to save that program to make the world better. And he really liked that program and said he would sponsor us to give us 50 free links to their pro level technology, so that now we can offer people free links to spread groups like this. We're hoping to get in touch with him soon if they will continue this. We don't know how long they'll do it and extend it. But part of the goal would be, we'd like to create 1 million groups, my vision, 1 million groups like this that bring people together in oneness to share their ideas. And of course, along with that, we'd need to have a World Peace Center, which was Barbara's idea, to begin to coordinate these things. So that's just to share my passion, my excitement and enthusiasm. And I'm in my 83rd year now, so I'm enjoying I think we do collect wisdom as we get a little older. So we are a group that have a lot of wisdom here, and I'm complete.
So given the time and honoring the time, just want to check. I think it's just Kelsey. Do you want to jump in? Nah.
Sure, I can jump in. Hi, I'm Kelsey in Minnesota. It's great to be here with you all. And I have a few things to say, but I think I'll just jump right in for time's sake. That I guess my passion, what makes me tick, what I'm alive in, is really working with youth and getting this stuff taught in a way like through yoga, through games, through creativity to kids. Like this idea and of a safe space of we are love as not just we are one, because I think that being one, if we're all one, that etymology of all one comes from alone, or alone comes from all. So having others, but recognizing that we are all other, and that love is other, and that we are love, and in that we can sit in a safe space and allow ourselves to grow and explore. And so just getting on that level, but with kids in a way that they understand that and can bring that with them into the future. that you are protected by this like bubble. Like I felt like I envisioned like this glitter bubble kind of thing that you can walk in anywhere you go that protects you. And that's, to me, love, which is love is a safe space. So that's really what I'm passionate about, working with kids and taking these concepts, these huge ideas, and making them like, somehow make sense to children. So thank you.
Oh, look at that kitty.
And this is my little kitty. It's a pet dog.
So beautiful. Thank you. Well, Henry.
Just a couple words that from Barbara that kind of link what is she would so what people have expressed this new way. So I just wanted to add that into the field.
Okay, thanks. So I just want to remind people that before you just take yourselves all off mute, just have an amazing week and carrying this into everyone and every circumstance you touch. This Wednesday is the public Mentoring Stewards community call, and we invite you into
it's the Wednesday after this. It's not this Wednesday.
Is it really? Oh, really? Whoops, maybe I am wrong. Okay. Okay, well, it's coming. No, it is this Wednesday, I believe. I just checked my calendar. I think it is this Wednesday. So in any case, stay, please, you're invited to come, invite other people. This is a way that people can experience, the experience that we come together every Monday for. And also, it's the place where your specific passions can be upheld, uplifted, and really be nurtured inside of this field that we're calling good of the whole, that we can live together for good of the whole. So we are starting this month a co-mentoring program through that Wednesday call. So come and hear about it, and please share it with others. So with that, I invite everyone to take yourselves off mute, and we will just spread this energy, love, light frequency out to the planet.
Mm-hmm.
Yum.
Yum, 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 yum.
Yum. Bless you. Thank you for you beautiful beings. Mwah.
Yes.
Take care. Big love.
Big love.